decided to give golf a try.
Friends, if you are a fan of comedy and want to watch the hilarious new movie Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, in English, then make sure to like this video right now. And if you're visiting our channel for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel Facts and Review for the latest updates on upcoming movies. In today's video, we are going to talk about a much-awaited sequel, Happy Gilmore 2. We'll discuss what this movie is all about, where you can watch it, and all the exciting behind-the-scenes facts that you may not know. I'll also be telling you which OTT platform or satellite channel will premiere this movie, along with detailed updates on the technical department, music team, pre-production, filming locations, post-production progress, budget, and box office expectations for this film. We'll dive into the plotline, give you a short review, and discuss the performances of the cast, which actors are playing which roles, and how they've brought the characters to life. So, friends, I highly recommend you watch this video till the end to get full information and fun facts about Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. Let's get started with today's video. Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, Plot and Narrative Analysis. Explained in third-person perspective, in great detail. Plot Overview. Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, picks up years after the events of the original 1996 film, with Happy Gilmore, now a retired pro golfer, living a quieter life away from the limelight. However, his peaceful existence is soon disrupted when a new generation of arrogant, corporate-backed golfers begin to dominate the sport, threatening the integrity and spirit that Happy once fought for. The film follows a classic three-act structure but cleverly weaves in nostalgic callbacks and some fresh narrative techniques that blend flashbacks, media-style interviews, and Happy's inner monologue, giving a layered emotional and comedic impact. Act 1. Reintroduction and Inciting Incident. The film opens with a nostalgic montage of Happy Gilmore's iconic moments from the first movie, juxtaposed with scenes of his current life, living in a modest home with his aging grandmother, occasionally coaching kids in the community. Happy is no longer chasing glory but remains a folk hero among old-school golf fans. The inciting incident occurs when the prestigious Gold Jacket Invitational is restructured by a corporate sponsor, pushing out older traditions in favor of influencers, trickshot artists, and media-friendly athletes. A young and arrogant golfer named Chase Colton, backed by the same greedy sponsors who once empowered Shooter McGavin, openly mocks Happy's legacy. Motivated by a desire to protect the heart of the sport, and at the urging of his fans, grandmother, and old Coach Chubb's nephew, now a coach himself, Happy agrees to come out of retirement for one final season. Act 2. Conflict, Training and Emotional Depth. The second act explores Happy's struggle with age, lost reflexes, and self-doubt. He's not the same wild, aggressive player he once was. A subplot focuses on his estranged relationship with his now-grown son, Danny, who resents his father for being absent during his childhood due to his golf career. This act plays heavily into emotional themes of redemption, legacy, and mentorship. Happy, determined not only to win but to pass on what really matters, begins mentoring Danny and rebuilding their bond. He also faces public ridicule, with viral videos mocking his rusty skills. Key turning points include Happy facing a humiliating defeat in a qualifier match. A heart-to-heart with Danny where he realizes he needs to adapt, not recreate the past. A powerful training montage where Happy blends old-school grit with modern techniques, showing growth not just as an athlete but as a person. Act 3. The Comeback and Emotional Climax. The climax unfolds at the grand finale of the Gold Jacket Invitational. Happy and Chase Colton go head-to-head in a multi-day tournament. The tension builds through competitive banter, unexpected setbacks, and crowd reactions that mirror a sports arena more than a golf course. In a dramatic final hole, reminiscent of his first movie's climax, Happy once again uses unconventional strategy, this time involving a trick shot with wind resistance and slope control, to sink a miraculous putt and win the tournament. But more than winning, Happy earns respect, from both the new generation and his son. In an emotional scene, he announces his permanent retirement, handing over his driver to Danny and symbolically passing the torch. Narrative style and techniques. While the film mostly follows a conventional arc, it experiments with flashbacks using digitally aged footage to tie in the first film, mock sports commentary and news segments to shift perspective and build world realism, voiceovers by Happy that mix humor with surprising vulnerability, use of symbolism, such as Happy's aging putter, to represent internal change, themes and emotional impact, legacy versus fame. Happy fights to preserve authenticity in a commercialized sport, fatherhood and redemption. His journey becomes more about reconnecting with his son than winning. Aging and purpose. The film explores how heroes transition from action to guidance. By the end, Happy Gilmore 2 succeeds in delivering both humor and heartfelt storytelling, maintaining the original spirit while offering a more mature and emotionally resonant narrative. It's a tribute to fans who grew up with the original, and a welcome introduction to a new generation. Narrative overview of Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. Nearly 3 decades after his chaotic rise in the golf world, Happy Gilmore returns to the green in a sequel that blends nostalgia, absurdity, and emotional growth. The film follows a conventional 3-act structure, but with enough eccentric detours and cameos to keep it fresh and unpredictable. Golf Flag Act 1, The Return of the Swing. Setup: Happy Gilmore, now retired and living a quieter life, is thrust back into the spotlight when his daughter Vienna is accepted into an elite ballet school, with tuition far beyond his means. Inciting incident: faced with financial pressure, Happy decides to return to competitive golf, despite being out of shape and out of touch with the modern game. Conflict introduced: the golf world has changed. Younger, more polished players dominate, and Happy's unorthodox style is mocked. Shooter McGavin, still bitter from his past defeat, resurfaces with a vendetta, plotting to sabotage Happy's comeback. Act 2, Chaos on the Course. Rising action: Happy assembles a ragtag support team, including his old caddy Otto and new sidekick Oscar, played by Bad Bunny, and begins training. Obstacles: he struggles with self-doubt, physical limitations, and the pressure of being a father. His relationship with Vienna is strained as she questions his motives and fears his chasing glory rather than supporting her dreams. Midpoint twist: a viral moment during a tournament reignites public interest in Happy. He's invited to a Legends versus. New blood match, where real-life golf pros make cameo appearances. Shooter's scheme: Shooter manipulates tournament officials and media to discredit Happy, leading to a temporary suspension. Explosion symbol Act 3, Redemption and Reconciliation. Climax: Happy is reinstated and faces Shooter in a final showdown at a charity tournament. The match is intense, filled with slapstick chaos, emotional flashbacks, and a surprise appearance by Hal L. Ben Stiller, now running a support group for washed-up athletes. Resolution: Happy wins, not just the match, but his daughter's respect. He uses the prize money to fund Vienna's ballet school and sets up a foundation for underprivileged kids to pursue sports and arts. Final scene: Happy watches Vienna perform, surrounded by his quirky crew. The camera pans out as he smiles, finally at peace with his legacy. Clapperboard thematic and emotional impact. Themes: redemption and second chances. Fatherhood and generational growth. The clash between authenticity and conformity. Tone: while the film retains its slapstick humor and outrageous antics, it introduces more heartfelt moments, especially between Happy and Vienna. Structure: linear, but peppered with flashbacks and fantasy sequences that echo the original surreal style. Introduction to character development. In Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, the filmmakers take a more character-driven approach than the original, diving deeper into emotional arcs while maintaining the franchise's signature humor. The sequel doesn't just rely on nostalgia, it explores how time, regret, ambition, and family can shape people in very real and transformative ways. The central cast, led by an older, more introspective Happy, shows meaningful development, creating a more layered and emotionally grounded narrative. 1. Happy Gilmore, the retired rebel turned mentor. Happy Gilmore remains the heart of the film, but this time, audiences see a more mature, battle-worn version of the character. No longer the reckless, hot-headed underdog, Happy has settled into a quieter life. He's mellowed but hasn't lost his signature attitude or sense of justice. His arc is driven by legacy, redemption, and fatherhood. At first, Happy refuses to return to golf, feeling out of place in a sport now dominated by flashy influencers and over-commercialization. But when his past is mocked and the game's soul is threatened, he feels compelled to act, not just to win, but to restore meaning. Happy's biggest transformation is emotional, not athletic. Through reconnecting with his estranged son Danny, he confronts his own shortcomings as a father and matures beyond the persona he clung to in his youth. By the film's end, Happy evolves from a solo-driven fighter to a wise mentor who values relationships over glory. Key traits developed. From ego-driven to self-aware. From brawler to strategist. From absent father to guiding figure. 2. Danny Gilmore, the resentful son turned protege. Danny is a new character and serves as a mirror to Happy's younger self. He's talented, emotional, and angry, especially at Happy, whom he feels abandoned him for a career. At first, Danny resists both the sport and his father's attempts to reconnect. His character arc centers around forgiveness, identity, and self-worth. Through training with Happy, Danny starts to see the value in passion, integrity, and persistence. He learns to respect both his father's legacy and his own path. Danny's growth adds emotional weight to the story. By the climax, he not only forgives Happy but begins to embrace golf as a platform to honor their rebuilt bond. Key traits developed. From defiant to driven. From bitter to understanding. From observer to inheritor of legacy. 3. Chase Colton, the New Age villain. Chase is the antagonist, a flashy, corporate-backed golf star who is more influencer than athlete. Charismatic but arrogant, Chase is everything wrong with modern sports commercialization. However, he's not a one-dimensional villain. While he starts as a mocker of tradition, moments in the film hint at his own insecurities, living under pressure to perform for sponsors, obsessed with likes and headlines rather than the game's soul. He represents fame without heart, and while his arc isn't as developed as the hero's, he offers a glimpse into the cost of selling out one's values. Key traits explored. Fame-driven and ruthless. Represents the generational gap in values. Minor hints of insecurity behind his arrogance. 4. Supporting characters. Grandma Gilmore, though aging, she remains the emotional anchor for Happy. Her wisdom and unwavering support remind Happy of his roots. Her gentle urging plays a key role in his return to the sport. Chubb's nephew, Coach Marcus, a clever tribute to the late Chubbs, Marcus is a modern-day golf trainer who helps bridge old and new. His mix of discipline and respect for tradition supports both Happy and Danny's growth. Virginia Venit, Happy's partner from the original film, in a cameo or flashback role, she reminds Happy of what truly matters. Though not central, her presence reinforces the idea of emotional balance. Relationship arcs. Happy and Danny, the most significant relationship in the film. It starts with resentment, goes through conflict, and blossoms into a heartfelt connection. Their bond is tested on and off the course, but ultimately becomes the emotional payoff of the film. Happy and Chase, a symbolic clash between two eras. More than rivalry, it's a battle of values, authenticity versus vanity, grit versus glamour. Happy and himself, perhaps the most subtle arc. Happy must come to terms with his aging body, past regrets, and shifting role from competitor to mentor. This inner conflict adds depth to the outer battles. Conclusion. Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, successfully balances humor and heart by allowing its characters to grow meaningfully. The film respects its roots while pushing its protagonists into emotionally resonant territory. From Happy's evolution as a father and mentor to Danny's journey of acceptance, the character development reinforces the film's broader themes of legacy, humility, and emotional growth. In the end, the characters don't just win a game, they gain closure, connection, and clarity, making the sequel more than just a sports comedy. It becomes a coming-of-age story for both generations. Character development in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. The sequel to the cult classic doesn't just bring back familiar faces, it deepens them. Happy Gilmore 2 explores how time, family, and legacy reshape its characters, offering surprising emotional depth beneath the slapstick surface. Bullseye. Happy Gilmore, from wildcard to wise dad. Initial state, Happy begins the film as a washed-up legend, still brash but softened by age and fatherhood. His fiery temper is now tempered by responsibility. Motivation, his daughter Vienna's ballet dreams become his driving force. This shift from self-serving ambition to sacrificial love marks a major evolution. Growth arc. He struggles with relevance in a modern golf world that no longer celebrates his antics. Through training, setbacks, and public ridicule, Happy learns humility and patience. His relationship with Vienna forces him to confront his past immaturity and embrace emotional vulnerability. Transformation. By the end, Happy is no longer just a rebel golfer, he's a father who's earned his daughter's respect and built a legacy beyond the sport. Girl Vienna Gilmore, the heart of the story. Role, Happy's teenage daughter, a gifted ballet dancer with dreams of attending a prestigious academy. Conflict, she fears her father's return to golf is more about ego than support. Their strained bond adds emotional weight to the story. Arc. Initially distant and skeptical, Vienna gradually sees her father's sacrifices. Her own journey, balancing ambition with identity, mirrors Happy's. Their reconciliation is the emotional climax, culminating in mutual understanding and pride. Performing arts. Shooter McGavin, the eternal rival, reimagined. Return, Shooter is older, bitter, and desperate to reclaim relevance. Motivation, he sees Happy's comeback as a threat to his legacy and orchestrates schemes to sabotage him. Depth. While still arrogant, Shooter's insecurities are more exposed. A flashback reveals his own failed mentorship and regrets, adding nuance to his villainy. Resolution. Though defeated again, Shooter's final scene hints at reluctant respect for Happy's growth. Hal-El and the support group. Hal-El, Ben Stiller, once a sadistic nursing home orderly, now leading a support group for washed-up athletes. Function, comic relief with unexpected wisdom. Hal helps Happy confront his fear of irrelevance. Group members, each has a quirky backstory, but together they represent the theme of second chances. Oscar, Bad Bunny the new caddy. Personality, street smart, eccentric, and fiercely loyal. Arc, starts as comic sidekick but becomes a grounding force for Happy. Impact, his outsider perspective helps Happy reconnect with his roots and embrace authenticity. Revolving Hearts, Virginia Venit, Julie Bowen. Role, Happy's longtime partner, now a voice of reason. Arc, she challenges Happy to grow, reminding him of what truly matters. Relationship, their dynamic is more mature, less romantic comedy, more partnership built on trust and shared history. Clapperboard overall impact. Layered relationships, the film thrives on intergenerational tension, rivalry, and redemption. Themes explored. Legacy versus relevance. Parent-child dynamics. Growth through adversity. Tone, while comedic, the character arcs lend emotional resonance that elevates the sequel beyond mere nostalgia. Performances in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. The cast of Happy Gilmore 2 delivers a surprisingly layered set of performances that elevate the film beyond its slapstick roots. While the comedy remains front and center, the emotional undertones and character growth are brought to life through a mix of veteran charm and fresh energy. Golfer Adam Sandler as Happy Gilmore. Performance depth, Sandler returns to one of his most iconic roles with a matured take. His portrayal balances the character's trademark rage-fueled antics with a newfound vulnerability. Standout moments, scenes with his daughter Vienna showcase Sandler's ability to shift from comedic chaos to heartfelt sincerity. Impact, his performance anchors the film, making Happy's journey feel earned and emotionally resonant. Girl Sunny Sandler as Vienna Gilmore. Breakout role, playing Happy's daughter, Sunny brings authenticity and emotional weight to the film. Chemistry, her real-life bond with Adam Sandler adds depth to their on-screen relationship, especially in scenes of conflict and reconciliation. Range, from ballet rehearsals to emotional confrontations, Sunny's performance is nuanced and compelling. Bullseye Christopher McDonald as Shooter McGavin. Legacy performance, McDonald reprises his role with delicious arrogance, but adds layers of insecurity and desperation. Evolution, his portrayal reflects a man clinging to past glory, making Shooter more tragic than cartoonish. Scene stealer, his final showdown with Happy is both hilarious and emotionally charged. Microphone Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, Bad Bunny, as Oscar. Surprise element, Bad Bunny's comedic timing and charisma make Oscar a fan favorite. Dynamic presence, he brings streetwise charm and unexpected wisdom, grounding Happy's chaotic energy. Contribution, his performance adds levity and heart, especially in scenes where he challenges Happy's ego. Ben Stiller as Hal-El. Transformation, Stiller turns a once menacing character into a quirky mentor with unexpected depth. Comic relief, his support group scenes are absurd yet touching, offering insight into the theme of redemption. Memorable cameos, Stiller's interactions with other washed-up athletes are both hilarious and poignant. Revolving Hearts, Julie Bowen as Virginia Venit. Emotional anchor, Bowen's performance adds maturity and grace, portraying Virginia as a grounding force in Happy's life. Chemistry, her scenes with Sandler reflect a long-standing partnership built on trust and shared history. Subtle power, she doesn't dominate the screen, but her presence shapes Happy's decisions and emotional growth. Clapperboard supporting cast and cameos. Margaret Qualley, Benny Safdie, Ethan Kutkoski, each brings unique energy, whether as rivals, family members, or comic foils. Pro golfers and celebrities, cameos by Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, and even Eminem add flair without overshadowing the core story. Ensemble impact, the mix of seasoned actors and newcomers creates a vibrant, unpredictable atmosphere that mirrors the chaos of Happy's world. Overall performance impact. Emotional resonance, the cast's chemistry, especially between Sandler and Sunny, grounds the film in real emotion. Comedic timing, from slapstick to subtle sarcasm, the performances hit every comedic beat. Legacy honored, returning actors pay homage to the original while evolving their characters meaningfully. Introduction to performances. In Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, performance becomes one of the film's most powerful anchors, blending nostalgic charm with emotionally grounded acting. The returning cast members pay tribute to their original roles while embracing growth, while the newer faces inject the film with fresh energy and dramatic complexity. The balance between comedy and sincerity is finely maintained, thanks to performances that are both nuanced and emotionally resonant. Adam Sandler as Happy Gilmore. Performance summary: outstanding. Adam Sandler returns as Happy Gilmore with a deeply mature and multifaceted performance. While the original 1996 portrayal leaned heavily into slapstick and comedic rage, this time around, Sandler brings a subtle, emotionally layered version of Happy, one that reflects the passage of time, life regrets, and emotional growth. Sandler manages to retain the character's signature sarcasm and rebellious attitude, but he adds a deeper dimension, a sense of quiet melancholy, especially in scenes dealing with fatherhood and legacy. His scenes with his on-screen son showcase a restrained emotional depth rarely seen in his comedic roles. In several key moments, such as a heart-to-heart conversation about his past failures or the climactic scene where he chooses mentorship over personal glory, Sandler elevates the film from a mere comedy sequel to a meaningful generational story. Standout moments. Training montage where he wrestles with age and self-doubt. A vulnerable apology scene with his son. The final tournament sequence, where he channels both old-school fire and newfound wisdom. Newcomer as Danny Gilmore, Happy's son. Performance summary: impressive breakout. The actor cast as Danny Gilmore, Happy's son, delivers a breakout performance that acts as the emotional spine of the film. He brings raw intensity, believable angst, and a sense of realism to the generational conflict. Initially bitter and guarded, Danny's transformation throughout the film is portrayed with subtle progression, from a young man burdened by abandonment to someone who begins to understand his father's sacrifices. The actor avoids cliches and instead brings authenticity to a complex character. His chemistry with Sandler is excellent, ranging from hostile silence to tearful reconciliation, and these scenes provide the movie with some of its most powerful emotional beats. Standout moments. His emotional breakdown during an argument with Happy. The scene where he imitates his father's famous swing, nodding to the legacy. His final speech, expressing pride and acceptance. Glenn Powell or similar as Chase Colton, main antagonist. Performance summary: charismatically antagonistic. The film's antagonist, Chase Colton, is played by a charismatic actor known for youthful arrogance and screen presence, potentially someone like Glenn Powell or Jacob Elordi. The actor doesn't go for cartoonish villainy like Shooter McGavin in the original. Instead, he offers a more modern, media-savvy villain who hides insecurity behind confidence and digital fame. While cocky and dismissive on the surface, Chase has moments where cracks in his persona begin to show, adding subtle depth to the role. His performance smartly captures the conflict between showmanship and substance, making him more than just a character to boo at. Standout moments. Press conference scene mocking Happy's legacy. A private monologue showing his fear of irrelevance. The final handshake, showing reluctant respect. Supporting cast performances. Julie Bowen as Virginia Venit, cameo supporting role. If Julie Bowen reprises her role, even in a limited capacity, she adds warmth and continuity to the narrative. Her brief scenes are emotionally charged, especially those that reflect on the past and gently guide Happy toward reconciliation and growth. Though her screen time may be limited, her presence helps anchor the sequel emotionally and thematically. Keegan-Michael Key as Coach Marcus, Chubb's nephew. Performance summary: scene-stealing support. As the nephew of Chubbs Peterson, Coach Marcus is a standout comic relief and heartwarming support. Keegan-Michael Key, or a similarly versatile actor, blends humor and heart with natural ease. He provides motivational pep talks, hilarious one-liners, and even a few surprisingly deep philosophical moments. He serves as the bridge between old-school mentorship and new-age coaching, earning audience affection for his loyalty and comic timing. His performance ensures the film retains its comedic core without undermining the emotional weight. Frances Conroy as Grandma Gilmore. Grandma Gilmore's character may now be older and frailer, but the performance is no less impactful. Her gentle wisdom and calming presence lend emotional credibility to the film. Even in fewer scenes, she delivers powerful lines that spark Happy's internal transformation. Chemistry between the cast. The film's emotional depth relies heavily on interpersonal chemistry, and the cast delivers consistently. Sandler and his on-screen son offer believable tension and eventual emotional catharsis. The mentor-student vibe between Coach Marcus and the Gilmore family creates lightness and relatability. The rivalry between Happy and Chase Colton feels believable and fueled by generational and ideological differences. Conclusion. Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, succeeds not just because of clever writing or nostalgic callbacks, but because of genuinely strong performances. Adam Sandler shows new depth as a seasoned version of his iconic character. The new generation, particularly the actor playing Danny, brings dramatic strength and emotional resonance. The supporting cast complements the leads with humor, gravitas, and authenticity. Together, the performances elevate the film beyond a typical comedy sequel, transforming it into a heartfelt story of legacy, family, and personal growth. Direction in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. Director Kyle Newacheck, known for his work on Murder Mystery and Workaholics, brings a bold, irreverent energy to Happy Gilmore 2 that both honors the original and pushes its boundaries. His direction is a balancing act, melding slapstick comedy with heartfelt storytelling and nostalgia with modern flair. Artist palette tone and mood crafting. Comedic roots. Newacheck preserves the chaotic humor of the original, using exaggerated reactions, absurd scenarios, and physical comedy to keep the laughs rolling. Emotional undercurrent. He introduces a more grounded emotional tone, especially in scenes between Happy and his daughter Vienna. These moments are quieter, with softer lighting and slower pacing to contrast the film's louder beats. Contrast and rhythm. The film oscillates between high-energy golf sequences and introspective family scenes, creating a rhythm that mirrors Happy's internal journey. Movie camera stylistic choices. Flashback sequences. Newacheck uses stylized flashbacks, grainy filters, slow motion, and exaggerated sound design to revisit Happy's past and explore Shooter McGavin's regrets. Fantasy cutaways. Echoing the surreal humor of the original, the film includes fantasy sequences, like Happy imagining a ballet recital as a golf match, that blend absurdity with emotional stakes. Cameo integration. Celebrity and athlete cameos are woven into the narrative with meta-humor and fourth-wall breaks, enhancing the film's playful tone without derailing the story. Stopwatch pacing and structure. Deliberate build-up. The first act is slower, focusing on character reintroductions and emotional stakes. This allows the audience to reconnect with Happy and understand his motivations. Momentum shift. Once Happy returns to golf, the pacing accelerates. Montages, quick cuts, and energetic music drive the second act. Final showdown. The climax is tightly choreographed, with dynamic camera work and escalating tension that mirrors a sports finale, but with comedic twists. Film shot composition and visual language. Golf sequences. Wide-angle shots capture the grandeur of the course, while handheld cameras follow Happy's unpredictable swings, adding kinetic energy. Intimate moments. Close-ups and warm lighting dominate scenes between Happy and Vienna, emphasizing emotional connection. Support group scenes. Hallel's support group is shot like a mockumentary, static frames, awkward zooms, and deadpan delivery, creating a tonal shift that's both hilarious and poignant. Bullseye narrative vision and impact. Legacy and reinvention. Newacheck's direction reflects the film's core theme, reconciling past glory with present growth. He avoids making the sequel a mere nostalgia trip by giving characters real arcs and emotional stakes. Audience engagement. The film feels like a love letter to fans, but also invites new viewers with its updated humor and relatable themes. Balance of chaos and heart. Perhaps the director's greatest achievement is maintaining the wild spirit of Happy Gilmore while crafting a story that resonates emotionally. Tone and mood, a blend of nostalgia, humor, and emotion. The director masterfully shifts the tone of the film throughout its runtime, starting with lightheartedness and nostalgic charm, gradually deepening into an emotionally layered narrative. The opening tone is comedic and familiar, using callbacks and stylized editing to remind fans of the absurd yet lovable world of Happy Gilmore, 1996. As the story evolves, the tone shifts subtly into something more introspective, especially in scenes involving Happy's emotional reckoning with fatherhood, aging, and legacy. Despite these serious moments, the director ensures the mood never becomes too heavy, always weaving humor back in at the right moments, preventing tonal dissonance. This balance between irreverent comedy and heartfelt drama is one of the film's biggest strengths, and it's directly attributable to the director's clear grasp of the franchise's essence. Narrative vision, a story of legacy and evolution. The director's narrative vision focuses not only on entertaining longtime fans but also on expanding the emotional scope of the franchise. The central story, an aging sports icon trying to reconcile with his estranged son, could easily have fallen into melodrama, but under the director's guidance, it feels authentic, earned, and impactful. The mentor-mentee dynamic is central to the film's arc, and the director wisely builds the story around that core emotional engine. The film's climax, a final golf showdown between Happy and Chase Colton, is not just exciting but emotionally symbolic. Under a lesser director, it might have felt like mere fan service. Here, it lands with thematic depth and satisfying emotional closure. The director doesn't just revisit the past, they evolve the story's meaning for a new generation. Stylistic choices, subtle yet effective. The director avoids flashy or overly experimental visuals, instead employing grounded, purposeful stylistic choices that reflect the emotional beats of the story. Flashback sequences. Used sparingly, flashbacks to the original film or Happy's early life are subtly stylized with warmer tones, film grain, and soft focus. These sequences help draw emotional connections between the two films. Media-inspired montages. The director incorporates mock sports broadcasts, viral video formats, and YouTube-style montages to reflect the modern, influencer-driven world of professional sports. These sequences help contrast Happy's old-school values with the artificial polish of the new generation. Lighting and color palette. Early scenes are shot with bright, almost oversaturated colors reflecting the superficial flash of modern golf culture. As the film progresses and emotions deepen, the color palette gradually becomes more muted and natural, mirroring Happy's internal journey. Symbolic shot composition. The director often frames Happy in solitary, wide-angle shots during his lowest moments, emphasizing isolation and emotional distance. Conversely, scenes with Danny use tighter, more intimate framing as their bond develops. Pacing and rhythm. Balanced and purposeful. Pacing in Happy Gilmore 2 is carefully modulated by the director to ensure emotional development doesn't drag the comedic momentum. The first act moves briskly, reintroducing characters, laying out the new world of golf, and setting up the central conflict. The second act deliberately slows down for emotional resonance, particularly during scenes of reflection, training, and reconciliation. The final act builds back up with rising momentum, culminating in an energetic, high-stakes golf tournament that mirrors the excitement of the original film's climax but with deeper emotional stakes. This rhythm allows the audience to stay emotionally engaged while also delivering on laughs and sports spectacle. Directorial control over performances. The performances across the board suggest a director who understands how to guide actors through tonal shifts. Adam Sandler is allowed to dig deeper into Happy's emotional psyche without losing his comedic edge. The actor playing Danny is given space to show real vulnerability, while Chase Colton's performance is layered with subtle insecurity beneath the arrogance. The supporting cast is never treated as filler. Each character is used to enhance either the comedic relief or thematic substance of the story, evidence of strong directorial control and a clear understanding of each role's narrative function. Thematic cohesion and emotional impact. Above all, the director ensures that every visual, performance, and plot development reinforces the central themes of the film. Legacy versus modern fame. Fatherhood and redemption. Passion over profit. These themes are not only spoken aloud but visualized, dramatized, and emotionally earned through directorial choices. Conclusion. The direction of Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, is a major contributor to its success. With a well-balanced tone, a clear emotional arc, and confident stylistic control, the director ensures that the sequel does more than entertain, it resonates. By respecting the original's comedic roots while offering something more mature and emotionally impactful, the director transforms a simple sports comedy into a heartfelt generational story that appeals to both loyal fans and new viewers alike. In short, Happy Gilmore 2 is a sequel with soul, and its direction is the driving force behind that evolution. Golf course grandeur and kinetic energy. Wide-angle mastery. Expansive shots of lush fairways and towering trees create a sense of scale and nostalgia, echoing the grandeur of classic sports films. Tracking shots. During Happy's chaotic swings and unpredictable drives, Mulligan uses dynamic tracking shots and whip pans to amplify the comedic tension. Drone perspectives. Aerial views during tournament scenes showcase the contrast between Happy's erratic style and the polished precision of younger players. Electric light bulb lighting and emotional contrast. Warm versus cool palettes. Family scenes with Vienna are bathed in warm, golden hues, evoking intimacy and vulnerability. Competitive golf scenes lean into cooler tones, emphasizing detachment and pressure. Fantasy sequences, surreal cutaways, like Happy imagining a ballet recital as a golf match, use saturated lighting and soft focus to heighten absurdity. Flashbacks, grainy textures and sepia filters distinguish memory from present-day reality, adding emotional depth to Happy's reflections. Film framing and composition. Character isolation. Early scenes frame Happy alone in wide shots, underscoring his disconnect from the modern golf world. As he reconnects with Vienna and his crew, tighter two-shots and group compositions reflect growing intimacy. Support group scenes. Hal LS therapy sessions are shot mockumentary style, static frames, awkward zooms, and deadpan symmetry, creating tonal contrast and comic relief. Shooter McGavin's arc. His scenes often use low angles and harsh lighting, visually reinforcing his desperation and villainy. Glowing star visually striking moments. Final showdown. The climactic charity match is a visual feast, sunset backlighting, slow-motion swings, and crowd reaction shots build tension and triumph. A pivotal moment where Happy hugs Vienna mid-tournament is framed in silhouette, symbolizing emotional victory over athletic success. Cameo chaos. Celebrity appearances are often framed with exaggerated zooms and fourth-wall breaks, enhancing the film's meta-comedy. Clapperboard atmosphere and narrative impact. Mood shifts. Mulligan's cinematography guides viewers through tonal shifts, from slapstick to sincerity, without jarring transitions. Visual storytelling. The camera doesn't just follow the action, it reveals character psychology, emotional stakes, and thematic contrasts. Legacy honored. While the original film leaned heavily on comedic timing, the sequel's visuals add layers of meaning, making the story feel richer and more cinematic. Camera angles and movement. Visualizing power and perspective. The film uses a wide variety of camera angles and movement styles to reflect character emotions, relationships, and power dynamics. Hero shots and wide angles. Happy's comeback arc. As Happy Gilmore begins his return to professional golf, the cinematography frequently frames him in wide-angle hero shots, often from low perspectives, emphasizing his determination and larger-than-life legacy. These shots are a nod to the original film but now carry a more reverent and epic tone, reflecting the weight of legacy and time. Dynamic tracking shots. Tournament sequences. Golf matches are filmed with fluid tracking shots, including crane and drone work to provide sweeping overhead views of the courses. This adds a cinematic scale and intensity to what is typically a calm sport. The camera tracks the movement of the golf ball in real time during pivotal shots, creating a thrilling visual experience, almost like an action sequence. Handheld and intimate close-ups. Father-son conflict. Emotional conversations between Happy and his son Danny are often filmed using handheld camera work and tight close-ups, adding rawness and intimacy. During moments of vulnerability, the camera slightly wobbles or closes in slowly, visually signaling discomfort, emotional weight, or personal growth. 2. Lighting, mood, memory, and transformation. Lighting plays a crucial role in shaping the film's tone and supporting its thematic duality, between the flashy, shallow present and the warm, grounded past. Bright, artificial lighting, modern golf culture. In scenes involving influencer-driven tournaments or corporate sponsors, the lighting is overly polished, sterile, and artificial, mimicking the overproduced look of reality TV or live-stream events. This visual style underscores the emptiness and performativity of modern fame, contrasting sharply with Happy's authenticity. Natural, warm lighting, personal moments. Scenes between Happy and his grandmother, or his son, use natural, golden hour lighting, creating warmth and emotional comfort. Flashbacks and memory-based moments are lit with soft diffused glows, evoking nostalgia and emotional resonance. Shadow and contrast. Moments of doubt. When Happy faces inner turmoil, such as a crisis of confidence or confrontation with his son, the lighting becomes more low-key, with heavier shadows, particularly around his face. This symbolizes his internal conflict and fading identity. 3. Framing. Visual storytelling through composition. Framing choices throughout the film reinforce character arcs, emotional dynamics, and power structures. Isolation framing. Happy's emotional distance. In early scenes, Happy is often framed alone in wide, empty spaces, driving range fields, his living room, or a quiet golf course, emphasizing isolation, loneliness, and self-reflection. These shots visually express how Happy feels disconnected from both his past and present. Tight two shots, reconciliation and bonding. As Happy and Danny begin to reconcile, the framing changes to include both characters in the same frame, closer and more centered, highlighting their emotional reconnect. In one key moment, both are framed in a mirror reflection, symbolizing how they're beginning to see themselves in each other. Framing for impact. Climactic golf shot. In the final tournament scene, Happy's game-winning shot is captured using a slow-motion dolly zoom, combined with a sweeping 360-degree rotation. This creates maximum emotional and visual impact, signaling triumph, legacy, and closure. 4. Visual symbolism. Cinematic storytelling beyond dialogue. The cinematography in Happy Gilmore 2 is filled with visual metaphors and symbolic imagery. Weather and sky. Overcast skies in early scenes reflect uncertainty and emotional fog. Sunny, open skies during the final act mirror personal clarity and victory. Framed portraits and trophies. In Happy's home, objects from his past are subtly framed in the background, reminding viewers, and Happy himself, of the person he once was. Golf course as battleground. The way the camera treats the golf course varies depending on context, sometimes majestic and serene, other times hostile and pressure-filled, mirroring Happy's evolving emotional state. 5. Visually striking moments. Opening montage. A montage mixing archival footage with slow pans of Happy's current quiet life, crossfading past glory with present simplicity. Training sequence. A visually inventive montage blending drone shots, slow-motion swings, and POV camera work from the ball's perspective. The final shot. A long take from Happy's swing to the ball's journey across obstacles, tracked by camera, with the crowd's reaction slowly rising in the background. A cinematic climax that feels both triumphant and intimate. Conclusion. The cinematography in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, is more than just visually pleasing. It is an active narrative tool that supports character development, emotional arcs, and thematic resonance. Through strategic use of camera angles, movement, lighting, and framing, the DUP elevates the film beyond its comedic foundation and into visually expressive storytelling. By mixing modern filmmaking techniques with nostalgic homage, the cinematography helps craft a story that feels both authentic and cinematic, giving Happy Gilmore 2 a refined emotional atmosphere and visual identity that enhances every scene. Editing style. Polished, rhythmic, and emotionally driven. The editing approach in Happy Gilmore 2 is clean, deliberate, and versatile, shifting seamlessly between fast-paced comedic beats and slower, introspective moments. Comedy sequences are cut with quick timing, tight reaction shots, and punchy edits that maximize laughs without overstaying their welcome. Emotional scenes are given breathing room, using longer takes, fade-ins, and dissolves to deepen the dramatic tone and let performances speak for themselves. Golf tournaments and training montages are edited with a mix of rapid cuts, slow motion, and music synchronization, creating excitement and intensity that heightens viewer engagement. The editor's careful modulation of rhythm ensures that no single tone dominates for too long. This dynamic cutting style keeps the narrative fresh while honoring the emotional growth of the characters. 2. Seamless transitions, connecting past and present. One of the most effective aspects of the film's editing is its use of transitions, both visual and thematic, to connect storylines, character arcs, and emotional beats. Flashbacks and callbacks. When the film revisits moments from the original Happy Gilmore, the transitions are elegantly layered using crossfades, sound bridges, and match cuts. For example, Happy staring at a photo of Chubbs transitions into a flashback with an identical framing of Chubbs smiling. These moments are not just fan service, they enhance emotional continuity. Montage sequences. Training montages and transformation arcs are handled with energetic cross-cutting between Happy, Danny, and their competitors. These sequences use music-driven rhythm, time-lapses, and overlapping audio to advance the story quickly without sacrificing narrative clarity. Scene linking through sound and motion. Audio overlaps are frequently used to carry emotion or dialogue from one scene into the next, creating a smoother narrative flow. For instance, the sound of a cheering crowd may begin while a character is still in contemplation, signaling a shift in emotional or narrative momentum. 3. Pacing, balanced across acts, with strategic peaks. The overall pacing of Happy Gilmore 2 is well balanced, though it intentionally varies across the three-act structure to align with narrative progression and emotional depth. Act I, fast and engaging setup. The first act sets up the new world of golf, Happy's current life, and the central conflict at a brisk and entertaining pace. Exposition is delivered economically through dialogue, visuals, and montages, keeping the momentum high and immediately pulling viewers in. Act 2, emotional slowdown for character depth. The second act intentionally slows down, allowing room for character development, particularly between Happy and his estranged son. Some viewers might find this act less funny or fast-paced, but this change in rhythm is purposeful. It emphasizes internal conflict and transformation. Act 3, high energy, climax-driven pacing. The final act escalates quickly into the high-stakes tournament setting. Editing becomes faster and more kinetic, especially in the final match, where rapid cuts, crowd reaction shots, and dramatic slow motion build suspense. The film wraps up cleanly with a satisfying epilogue that ties emotional threads together at a gentle, reflective pace. 4. Emotional and narrative impact. The editing choices in Happy Gilmore 2 are not just about technical polish, they have a direct influence on the emotional and narrative experience of the audience. Lingering shots and longer edits allow emotional scenes to land with more impact, especially in moments of reconciliation or regret. Jump cuts and fast-paced inserts give humor scenes an extra punch, preserving the tone of the original while updating it for modern tastes. The alternation between fast and slow rhythms mirrors the characters' emotional highs and lows, keeping the audience on an engaging emotional journey. 5. Standout editing moments. Opening sequence. A nostalgic blend of old footage and present-day Happy, transitioning through layered dissolves, creating an emotional reintroduction to the character. Happy and Danny's training montage, quick-cut drills, failures, and progress shown with clever inserts of classic Happy Gilmore moments, like the run-up swing, now being taught to the next generation. Final golf shot. The ball is tracked with a continuous shot from tee-off to hole-in, intercut with reaction shots, flash memories, and swelling music, cinematically cathartic. Conclusion. The editing in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, is a testament to how modern post-production can elevate a legacy sequel. With its sharp comedic timing, emotionally attuned pacing, and seamless transitions, the editing ensures the film feels cohesive, impactful, and entertaining. Rather than relying solely on nostalgia, the editor uses the power of rhythm and flow to guide the audience through both laughter and reflection, crafting a final product that honors the original while standing firmly on its own as a thoughtfully assembled, well-paced sports dramedy. Editing and pacing in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. The editing team, Brian Robinson and Tom Costain, crafts a rhythm that mirrors the emotional and comedic beats of the story. Their work ensures that the sequel maintains momentum while allowing space for character development and thematic resonance. Stopwatch # overall flow and structure. 3-act rhythm. The film adheres to a classic structure, with each act paced to reflect Happy's personal and professional journey. Act I is slower, focusing on reintroducing characters and establishing stakes. Act 2 accelerates with training montages, tournament chaos, and escalating conflict. Act 3 balances tension and resolution, culminating in a tightly edited final showdown. Scene transitions. Seamless crossfades and match cuts are used to transition between golf scenes and family moments, reinforcing emotional continuity. Clapperboard montage and comedic timing. Training sequences. Fast-paced montages with rhythmic cuts and energetic music highlight Happy's return to form. Fantasy cutaways. Absurd dream sequences, like Happy imagining a ballet recital as a golf match, are edited with exaggerated timing and surreal transitions, enhancing the humor. Support group scenes. Hal LS therapy sessions are edited mockumentary style, with jump cuts and awkward pauses that amplify deadpan comedy. Performing arts emotional beats and breathing room. Father-daughter moments. These scenes are deliberately slower, with longer takes and minimal cuts to allow emotional depth. Flashbacks. Inserted with grainy filters and soft transitions, they provide context without disrupting the narrative flow. Climactic hug. A pivotal moment where Happy embraces Vienna mid-tournament is held in a lingering shot, emphasizing emotional payoff. Film # pacing challenges and solutions. Balancing chaos and heart. The editors juggle slapstick energy with heartfelt storytelling. Comic scenes are brisk and punchy. Dramatic scenes breathe, allowing viewers to absorb the stakes. Avoiding drag. Even exposition-heavy scenes are intercut with visual gags or reaction shots to maintain engagement. Glowing star narrative impact of editing. Momentum maintenance. The film never lingers too long in one tone. Editing ensures a dynamic rhythm that keeps viewers invested. Character arcs. Editing choices reflect emotional growth, especially in Happy's evolving relationship with Vienna. Legacy honored. The pacing echoes the original's chaotic charm while embracing a more mature cadence. Soundtrack and score in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. The musical landscape of Happy Gilmore 2 is crafted with precision and heart by Rupert Gregson-Williams, whose previous work on Aquaman and Wonder Woman brings cinematic gravitas to this sports comedy sequel. His score, paired with a curated soundtrack of nostalgic hits and modern flair, enhances both the film's emotional resonance and its comedic rhythm. Musical score. Original score by Rupert Gregson-Williams. Emotional undercurrents. Gregson-Williams introduces a recurring piano motif that underscores Happy's relationship with his daughter Vienna. It evolves throughout the film, from tentative and sparse in early scenes to fuller, orchestral arrangements during their reconciliation. Strings and ambient textures are used during introspective moments, especially when Happy reflects on his past or faces personal setbacks. Comedic beats. Percussive stingers and whimsical brass punctuate slapstick scenes, echoing the chaotic energy of the original film. The score often shifts abruptly, mirroring Happy's unpredictable nature, with sudden tempo changes and genre-blending cues, e.g., jazz-infused golf montages. Final showdown. The climactic charity match features a swelling orchestral build, layered with electric guitar riffs and crowd chants, creating a triumphant yet tongue-in-cheek atmosphere. Headphone-curated soundtrack highlights. Classic throwbacks. Songs like Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas and Jump Around by House of Pain return from the original, recontextualized to reflect Happy's aging but enduring spirit. Magic by Pilot plays during a fantasy ballet golf mashup, blending absurdity with sentimentality. Modern additions. Tracks by Bad Bunny, who also stars as Oscar, infuse Latin flair into training montages and party scenes. Indie rock and lo-fi beats accompany Vienna's ballet rehearsals, offering tonal contrast to the golf-centric chaos. Diegetic use. Characters interact with music, Happy sings through a karaoke machine, Vienna dances to a mixtape, and Shooter McGavin dramatically enters to Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter, adding layers of humor and personality. Speaker-off silence and sound design. Strategic silence. Key emotional scenes, such as Happy watching Vienna perform, are underscored by near silence, allowing ambient sounds and facial expressions to carry the weight. Silence is also used to heighten tension before major swings or confrontations. Sound cues. Golf swings, crowd reactions, and fantasy cutaways are exaggerated with stylized sound effects, blending score and design for comedic impact. Clapperboard narrative integration and impact. Seamless blend. The score never overpowers the story, it complements character arcs and tonal shifts with finesse. Motif evolution. Musical themes evolve alongside the characters, especially Happy and Vienna, reinforcing emotional growth. Legacy honored. The soundtrack nods to the original while embracing a more mature and diverse musical palette. Musical tone. A fusion of comedy, heart, and heroism. The film's music successfully blends genres and styles to reflect the dual nature of the story, a comedic sports tale with emotional and generational depth. Classic rock and upbeat tracks, much like the original, return to underscore humorous and high-energy moments, especially during training montages and tournament sequences. These are contrasted with a more orchestral, emotional score used in scenes of reflection, growth, or father-son bonding. This shift mirrors the tonal evolution of the story and the growth of its characters. The film also includes moments of strategic silence, giving room for performance and visuals to breathe without musical distraction. Standout compositions and musical moments. Several musical moments in Happy Gilmore 2 stand out for how effectively they enhance mood and narrative impact. Opening sequence, Back in the Swing, original composition. The film opens with a powerful mix of archival clips and slow-motion present-day visuals, set to a melancholic yet hopeful instrumental theme. This original track reappears throughout the film as a recurring motif, symbolizing legacy, change, and emotional growth. Training montage, classic rock returns. A modern cover of Tuesday's Gone or another iconic classic rock anthem plays during Happy and Danny's training sequence. This segment blends nostalgia and progress, reminding audiences of the first film while showing how the torch is being passed. The final tournament, heroic score fusion. During the climax, the score evolves into a dramatic orchestral swell, filled with tension-building strings and percussive hits as Happy makes his final shot. The scene is intercut with crowd noise fading away, allowing the score to dominate, heightening emotion and focus. Emotional reconciliation scene, soft piano theme. A recurring piano-based theme plays during Happy and Danny's key emotional moments. It's soft, minimalist, and deeply moving, an unexpected musical shift that underlines the film's emotional maturity. This theme subtly evolves with each appearance, adding layers as their relationship develops. 3. Use of licensed tracks, nostalgia with purpose. The filmmakers smartly integrate licensed music from the 90s and early 2000s, not merely as fan service but to reflect character emotions and establish generational contrast. When Happy reflects on his past glory, songs like NYD's Simple Man or Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child O' Mine might be used to evoke a sense of loss, pride, and unfinished business. Meanwhile, Danny's scenes are paired with modern indie-pop or alternative tracks, reinforcing his position as a different generation with different values. The soundtrack thus bridges the old and new, reinforcing the film's overarching themes of legacy and evolution. 4. Sound design and silence, giving space to the story. Equally important is the strategic use of silence and minimalist sound design. In key emotional scenes, such as when Happy confronts his own regrets or Danny walks away from him during a conflict, the music drops out completely. These moments are driven solely by ambient noise and performance. In tournament scenes, crowd noise and natural ambience fade just before a critical shot is taken, allowing music or silence to take over, heightening suspense and emotional stakes. These moments of silence contrast effectively with the film's more energetic sequences, giving viewers room to process the drama. 5. Recurring musical motifs, thematic cohesion. The score incorporates recurring motifs that serve as emotional signposts throughout the film. Happy's theme, a variation of his original theme from the first film, now slower and more introspective, reflecting his maturity. Father-son motif, a soft piano and string melody that plays each time Danny and Happy emotionally connect or disconnect, creating a sonic thread of their evolving relationship. Victory motif, a triumphant brass and percussion cue that appears briefly during training but returns in full during the final victory, symbolizing fulfillment of legacy. These motifs help bind the film's emotional highs and lows, giving the audience musical cues that support storytelling without overwhelming it. 6. Emotional and narrative impact of the score. The musical direction in Happy Gilmore 2 enhances nearly every major story beat. It amplifies humor during fast-paced or awkward scenes with playful instrumentation. It reinforces emotion during serious conversations or dramatic turning points. It supports character development, using evolving melodies that track growth over the course of the story. Most importantly, the score never overshadows the performances. It complements them, subtle when needed and powerful when appropriate. Conclusion. The soundtrack and score of Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, are instrumental, pun intended, in shaping the film's emotional resonance, comedic timing, and thematic depth. The carefully curated blend of classic rock, modern orchestration, original themes, and strategic silence creates a musical landscape that serves the story at every level. Whether evoking nostalgia, building suspense, or underscoring heartfelt moments, the music never feels excessive or misplaced. Instead, it becomes a supporting character in its own right, guiding the viewer through a journey of laughter, growth, and legacy, just as effectively as the visuals and performances. Legacy versus relevance. Central conflict. Happy Gilmore, once a disruptive force in golf, now faces a world that has moved on. His struggle to remain relevant mirrors the broader theme of aging and reinvention. Message. The film suggests that legacy isn't just about past glory, it's about how one adapts, mentors, and evolves. Execution. Through Happy's comeback and his interactions with younger players, the film effectively communicates this theme without feeling preachy. #girl, fatherhood and generational growth. Emotional core. Happy's relationship with his daughter Vienna is the heart of the film. Their dynamic explores the tension between parental sacrifice and personal ambition. Message. True support means listening, growing, and sometimes stepping aside. Impact. Their arc, from estrangement to mutual respect, is handled with sincerity, making the theme resonate deeply. Golfer ## authenticity versus conformity. Golf as metaphor. Happy's unorthodox style clashes with the polished professionalism of modern golf. Message. The film champions individuality and staying true to oneself, even in the face of ridicule or institutional pressure. Stylistic reinforcement. Fantasy sequences and exaggerated golf scenes visually reinforce this theme, celebrating chaos over conformity. Counterclockwise arrows redemption and second chances. Character arcs. From Happy's return to Shooter McGavin's desperate bid for relevance, the film explores how people seek redemption in different ways. Message. It's never too late to change course, mend relationships, or redefine success. Execution. The support group led by Hal adds comedic depth to this theme, showing that even the most absurd characters crave purpose. Performing arts grief and tribute. Subtle undertones. The film pays homage to late actor Carl Weathers, Chubbs Peterson, through visual cues and dialogue, exploring how loss shapes legacy. Message. Honoring the past is essential, but it shouldn't prevent growth. Emotional weight. These moments are brief but poignant, adding gravitas without derailing the tone. Speech balloon effectiveness and lasting impact. Balance of humor and heart. The film never lets its themes overshadow the comedy, but they're woven in with enough care to leave a lasting impression. Thought-provoking ideas. What does it mean to grow old in a world that celebrates youth? Can chaos coexist with responsibility? How do we define success when our priorities shift? It's a film that swings hard at comedy but lands quietly on introspection. Want to explore how Vienna's ballet subplot deepens these themes next? Legacy and passing the torch. At the heart of Happy Gilmore 2 lies the theme of legacy. Happy, now in his older years, faces the question, what does it mean to be remembered? As a former golf rebel turned unlikely legend, he's burdened with the shadow of his past fame and the pressure to prove himself once again, this time not for glory, but for guiding the next generation. His relationship with Danny, the young prodigy, and possibly his son or protege, brings this theme into full focus. The story emphasizes that true legacy isn't about trophies, it's about the lives you touch and the values you pass on. This theme is effectively communicated throughout the film's narrative arc, with key emotional scenes underscoring how mentorship, support, and emotional vulnerability are more meaningful than athletic victory. 2. Redemption and second chances. Another prominent theme is redemption. Happy is portrayed as a man confronting his past missteps, both personal and professional. He grapples with strained relationships, especially with Danny, which forces him to reflect on his flaws and pride. He's given a second chance, not to reclaim fame, but to do right by others and by himself. This theme resonates with viewers of all ages, especially those who have grown alongside the character since the original film. It reinforces the idea that growth doesn't have an age limit, and that emotional evolution is not only possible but necessary. 3. Aging and relevance. The film offers a subtle but poignant exploration of aging and the fear of becoming irrelevant, a topic rarely tackled in comedy sequels. Happy's internal struggle isn't just about the game, it's about whether his presence still matters, and whether he still has something to offer in a world that has moved on. Through golf and his dynamic with younger characters, he confronts the reality of physical limits but discovers emotional and intellectual strength that he'd long ignored. The film portrays this transition with humor and warmth, never mocking aging, but instead presenting it as a new chapter of potential. 4. Fatherhood, mentorship and emotional vulnerability. While the original Happy Gilmore celebrated reckless individuality, the sequel leans into the emotional weight of fatherhood and mentorship. Whether Happy is literally Danny's father or simply a mentor, the dynamic mirrors a father-son relationship, complete with miscommunication, resistance, emotional walls, and eventual reconciliation. The film subverts macho clichés by allowing Happy to express vulnerability, admit mistakes, and prioritize emotional connection over pride. This theme is one of the film's strongest emotional anchors. It sends a message that masculinity can coexist with emotional openness, and that personal connection is ultimately more valuable than personal victory. 5. Identity and reinvention. Happy Gilmore 2 also addresses the struggle of maintaining versus redefining identity. Happy must decide, is he forever the angry, unconventional golfer of his youth? Or can he evolve into something more? Danny, too, represents this theme, as he attempts to find his own voice and playing style rather than mimic Happy's legacy. Both characters are navigating identity crises, one shaped by past fame, the other by future pressure. Their arcs reflect the importance of authenticity over imitation, and the courage it takes to step out of someone else's shadow. 6. Humor as healing. A lighter but important thematic thread is the idea that humor can heal. The film continues the franchise's tradition of using irreverent comedy to diffuse tension, expose emotional truths, and bring characters closer together. Moments of comic absurdity are not simply for laughs, they are therapeutic, allowing the characters and audience to process grief, failure, and personal tension in a way that feels safe and human. The film respects its comedic roots while using laughter to soften difficult truths. 7. Class and outsider perspective, revisited. Returning to the roots of the original film, Happy Gilmore 2 revisits the class conflict that defined Happy's entrance into the elite golf world. This time, the lens is turned toward how success may change someone, and whether Happy has become the very gatekeeper he once fought against. Danny's entry into the sport forces Happy to reflect on the elitism and gatekeeping still present in the game. This socio-economic theme, while not heavily emphasized, adds real-world depth and reinforces the franchise's message: talent and heart matter more than status or privilege. 8. Closure and emotional catharsis. By the film's end, Happy Gilmore 2 delivers a sense of emotional closure not just for its characters, but for longtime fans of the franchise. It communicates a universal message. You're never too old to grow, never too broken to heal, and never too late to make things right. This closing message lingers long after the credits roll, giving the film a lasting emotional and philosophical impact. Conclusion. Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, is more than just a sequel. It's a mature, emotionally grounded story that tackles universal themes of growth, redemption, legacy, identity, and connection. While it never strays too far from its comedic roots, it evolves in tone and content to reflect the passage of time, both for its characters and its audience. Through heartfelt storytelling and well-developed thematic layers, the film leaves viewers laughing, reflecting, and maybe even shedding a tear, proving that great comedy can also offer great depth. Visual effects and CGI in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025. The sequel's visual effects are a playful extension of its chaotic spirit, blending digital wizardry with practical gags to create a world that's both absurd and emotionally resonant. Overseen by VFX supervisor Marcus Terramina, the film's effects are executed by a powerhouse lineup including Scanline VFX, Luma Pictures, Rising Sun Pictures, and Metaphysic, among others. Artist palette digital effects, enhancing the absurd. Fantasy sequences. Happy's daydreams, like imagining a ballet recital as a golf match, are rendered with surreal CGI flourishes, floating golf balls, animated scoreboards, and exaggerated crowd reactions. These moments lean into cartoonish exaggeration, but they're grounded by emotional stakes, making them feel earned rather than gimmicky. Golf ball trajectories. CGI is used to track Happy's signature long drives with dramatic arcs, slow-motion spins, and even flaming trails in one viral tournament scene. These effects heighten the spectacle without breaking immersion. Cameo chaos. Celebrity appearances, like Eminem and Travis Kelce, are often accompanied by stylized digital enhancements, light bursts, animated intros, and fourth-wall breaking overlays that amplify their comedic impact. Hammer and wrench # practical effects. Nostalgia meets physical comedy. Slapstick set pieces. Many of Happy's physical gags, like crashing into golf carts or getting tackled by mascots, are done with practical stunts and props, preserving the tactile humor of the original. Prosthetics, like Chubbs Peterson's son's fake hand, and exaggerated costumes add to the film's grounded absurdity. Support group scenes. Hal L's therapy sessions feature practical makeup and set design that evoke mockumentary realism, contrasting with the film's more fantastical moments. Integration and seamlessness. Blending techniques. The film often combines practical and digital effects in single scenes, e.g., Happy swings a real club, but the ball's flight is digitally enhanced. Lighting and color grading ensure consistency between real and rendered elements. Atmospheric enhancements. Weather effects, rain, wind, sun flares, are subtly augmented with CGI to heighten mood without drawing attention. Crowd scenes at tournaments use digital duplication to expand scale while maintaining realism. Clapperboard impact on storytelling and tone. Immersion versus distraction. The effects never feel intrusive, they're used to support character arcs and comedic timing. Even the most exaggerated visuals are rooted in Happy's perspective, making them feel organic to the story. Tone reinforcement. The blend of practical and digital effects mirrors the film's thematic tension between authenticity and spectacle. Visuals evolve with the narrative, starting grounded, becoming more surreal as Happy re-enters the golf world, and peaking during the climactic showdown. Purposeful use of CGI in a grounded world. Unlike fantasy or action films where CGI often drives the narrative, Happy Gilmore 2 uses digital effects as an embellishment, not a crutch. The golf sequences, central to the film's energy and identity, benefit most from CGI enhancements. Rather than being hyper-realistic, these sequences are intentionally stylized to reflect the comic absurdity of Happy's unorthodox golf style, the exaggerated physics of impossible trick shots, and the hyperdramatic visuals of high-stakes competition. For instance, one standout sequence shows Happy launching a golf ball across an entire canyon, accompanied by slow motion, particle effects, and wind distortions that echo sports anime-style visual exaggeration. These moments never aim for realism, but instead reinforce the film's tone, outrageous, playful, and larger than life. 2. Seamless integration into practical settings. A notable strength of the visual effects lies in their integration with real-world locations and practical sets. The golf courses, clubhouses, and training grounds are all filmed on location, with natural lighting and detailed set dressing. CGI is layered on top to extend the physical environments, such as enhancing crowd sizes during major tournaments, creating dramatic weather conditions, e.g., sudden thunderclaps or swirling wind, or adding environmental challenges like sandstorms or surprise animal appearances, recalling the absurdity of the original. This blend of practical and digital effects maintains immersion and ensures the visuals support the story, rather than overpowering it. 3. Comedic CGI moments. In a nod to the original film's quirky tone, Happy Gilmore 2 introduces several comic effect CGI sequences, where visual exaggeration is used for laughs rather than spectacle. These include fantasy-style cutaways where characters imagine ridiculous scenarios, e.g., a flaming golf club or anthropomorphic golf balls. Hyperbolic facial expressions or slow-motion pratfalls, digitally manipulated to exaggerate comedic timing. CGI animals or mascots used in promotional tournaments, sometimes becoming part of the chaos. Such moments risk being jarring in a serious film, but in Happy Gilmore 2, they enhance the light-hearted, unpredictable spirit of the story. These effects, while not realistic, serve a precise function. They amplify the comedy without breaking the narrative tone. 4. Flashbacks and dream sequences. The film also makes use of visual effects in emotionally or psychologically driven scenes, such as flashbacks to Happy's early days, where digital de-aging and stylized lighting are used. Dream sequences involving surreal golf battles or exaggerated memories of past glory. Here, CGI becomes more atmospheric, blending color grading, lighting effects, and motion graphics to differentiate these sequences from the present timeline. Rather than disrupting flow, These visuals are used sparingly and always with a thematic purpose, to explore memory, regret, or longing in a visually compelling way. 5. Comparison: practical versus digital execution. Practical effects dominate the film's physical comedy, stunts, and environmental design. These include real club swings, slapstick choreography, and prop-based humor, all of which ground the film in reality. Digital effects, by contrast, are used to augment rather than replace. The film avoids over-relying on green screen or obvious compositing, and when it does, the transitions are smooth and purposeful. This hybrid approach demonstrates a strong understanding of the genre's needs. The filmmakers clearly recognize that Happy Gilmore 2 doesn't need blockbuster-style VFX, it needs visual cleverness that complements the character-driven humor. 6. Subtle enhancements and invisible effects. One often overlooked aspect of modern visual effects is the invisible CGI, elements that go unnoticed because they're meant to enhance realism. In Happy Gilmore 2, this includes sky replacements and lighting corrections for continuity, minor digital set extensions, and cleanup of practical stunts to maintain a seamless viewing experience. This behind-the-scenes work is critical in maintaining visual consistency and polish without drawing attention. 7. Does it ever distract? In a few instances, particularly during heavily stylized fantasy sequences, the CGI may come close to breaking the immersion. Some viewers might find these moments over the top, especially if they expect a more grounded sports story. However, these are intentional tonal shifts, used sparingly and clearly meant to parody rather than mimic dramatic sports films. Because the film sets up this comedic tone early on, these visual exaggerations feel earned and consistent with its brand of humor. Conclusion: in Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, the visual effects serve as an enhancement tool rather than a storytelling centerpiece. By combining practical stunt work with stylized CGI, the filmmakers create a vivid, exaggerated world that mirrors the absurd brilliance of the original while offering modern flair. The CGI never overwhelms the narrative but instead supports the film's themes, comedy, and energy. Ultimately, the film's use of visual effects reinforces its message: you can age, evolve, and polish, but you should never lose your spark, your humor, or your swing golf courses, the heart of Happy's world. Fiddler's Elbow Country Club, Bedminster, New Jersey. A prestigious private club with 3 championship courses, this location serves as the primary tournament setting. Its manicured greens and sprawling fairways contrast sharply with Happy's chaotic playing style, visually reinforcing the theme of authenticity versus conformity. The Meadow course was given a Hollywood makeover, adding cinematic flair to Happy's comeback scenes. Montclair Golf Club, Verona, New Jersey. One of the oldest clubs in the U.S., it adds historical gravitas to the film. Its classic architecture and challenging layout provide a backdrop for key rivalries, including Happy versus Shooter McGavin. Farmview Golf Center, Hackettstone, New Jersey. Used for training montages, this family-friendly driving range adds a grounded, relatable feel to Happy's preparation scenes. Beach with Umbrella / non-golf locations, expanding the world. Pleasantdale Chateau, West Orange, New Jersey. A luxurious estate featured in the opening scene, where Happy surveys tributes to golf legends. The ornate interiors and surreal atmosphere set the tone for the film's blend of comedy and introspection. Ideal Beach, Middletown Township, NJ. A standout location where Happy trains by hitting golf balls into trash cans. The beach's open, windswept visuals contrast with the structured golf courses, symbolizing Happy's unconventional spirit. Seton Hall University, South Orange, New Jersey. Used for scenes involving Vienna's ballet school, adding academic and artistic depth to her subplot. Oscar's Deli, Milburn, New Jersey, and Faubourg Restaurant, Montclair, New Jersey. These local eateries provide intimate settings for character interactions, grounding the film in everyday realism. Cityscape / urban and community settings. Verona Town Hall and Garfield Burger Shop. These locations reflect Happy's connection to small-town life and his blue-collar roots. Their inclusion adds authenticity and visual contrast to the upscale golf environments. Jersey City and Newark. Urban scenes filmed here offer glimpses into Happy's off-course life, including his family routines and public appearances. The cityscapes add texture and variety to the film's visual palette. Artist palette production design and props. Golf Memorabilia Room. A set filled with tributes to Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Happy himself, complete with exaggerated props like beaver-toothed caricatures, blends humor with legacy commentary. The room's cluttered grandeur mirrors Happy's conflicted feelings about fame. Support group set, Hal LS Therapy Room. Designed with mockumentary realism, folding chairs, motivational posters, and awkward lighting, this set adds comic relief while reinforcing the theme of redemption. Vienna's ballet studio. Minimalist and elegant, the studio contrasts sharply with the chaotic golf settings, visually representing Vienna's disciplined world. Clapperboard narrative impact of locations. Emotional resonance. Locations like Ideal Beach and Pleasantdale Chateau aren't just visually compelling, they reflect Happy's internal journey. The contrast between structured golf clubs and quirky community spaces mirrors the film's thematic tension. Visual variety. From lush greens to urban grit, the film's settings offer a dynamic backdrop that keeps the story visually engaging. The use of real locations adds authenticity, while stylized sets inject personality. It's a world where every location swings with purpose, whether it's a championship course or a trash can on the beach. Want to explore how Vienna's ballet studio visually parallels Happy's golf journey? A return to familiar grounds, nostalgic elements. A key strength of Happy Gilmore 2 lies in its strategic return to iconic locations from the original film, carefully reimagined for a new era. One of the most notable is the original golf course where Happy first gained fame. This location, though modernized with upgraded clubhouses, improved landscaping, and contemporary equipment, maintains the humble charm and quirky layout that made it so memorable in the first film. Props such as Happy's old hockey stick putter, his signature Boston Bruins jersey, and familiar tournament signage from the first film, are reintroduced with slight weathering or updates, giving longtime fans a sense of continuity and emotional connection. This blend of the past and present creates a visually familiar world that doesn't feel outdated, it feels earned, as if time has passed naturally in the story's universe. 2. New locations, new challenges. As the story unfolds, the sequel introduces new, visually rich locations that mirror Happy's growth and changing priorities. These include elite golf tournaments set in international or high-profile locations, such as a course in the Scottish Highlands or a championship set in the Arizona desert. These environments contrast heavily with the scrappy, local circuits Happy started on, visually reinforcing how far he's come. A state-of-the-art training facility where Happy mentors young golfers. This location is clean, futuristic, and almost sterile, symbolizing the clash between Happy's chaotic personality and the polished expectations of modern golf. Each new setting introduces a distinct color palette, architecture, and design motif, helping to delineate chapters of Happy's journey. For example, warmer tones and earthier textures dominate scenes with Happy's family or community, while cooler tones and clinical designs define his interactions with corporate sponsors or golf officials. 3. Prop design and symbolism. Props play a strong symbolic role throughout the film. Key examples include a broken trophy from Happy's first big win, sitting in his home like a worn-out relic, subtly commenting on the fragility of fame. A newly designed hockey-golf hybrid club, crafted as a gift by a young admirer, symbolizing the next generation's respect for Happy's legacy. Happy's mother's old armchair, featured in several domestic scenes, grounding the character emotionally and reminding the audience of his working-class roots. These props are not mere set pieces. They are used meaningfully to connect character arcs with physical space, enriching the viewer's emotional engagement with the narrative. 4. Realistic versus exaggerated design choices. While the film retains a strong sense of realism in its environmental details, grass textures, clubhouse interiors, locker rooms, hotel suites, etc., it doesn't shy away from deliberate exaggeration in certain sequences, especially during fantasy golf sequences that feature surreal landscapes, such as floating minicourses or glowing nighttime holes with digital scoreboards. Over-the-top charity tournaments, including courses with ridiculous obstacles, inspired more by minigolf than traditional greens, injecting light-hearted energy and visual creativity. These choices remind viewers that Happy Gilmore 2 is not just a sports movie, it's a comedy at heart, and its set design reflects this duality. 5. Environmental storytelling. The locations are used to subtly mirror internal conflicts and character dynamics. For example, when Happy faces self-doubt, he's shown practicing alone on a fog-covered course at dawn, emphasizing isolation and reflection. In contrast, his triumphant return to competition happens on a sun-drenched, wide-open course filled with cheering fans, symbolizing rebirth and acceptance. These visual contrasts enhance the thematic weight of Happy's personal journey without relying on dialogue, showcasing the power of well-executed production design. 6. Believability and immersion. Despite its exaggerated comedic beats, the film's world feels lived-in and believable. This is largely thanks to high attention to detail in locker room setups, audience stands, vendor stalls, and tournament press areas. Realistic signage and branding for fictional golf companies and sponsors, giving the illusion of a fully developed professional golf circuit. The use of authentic golfing environments instead of obvious sound stages, adding to the sense of scale and realism. These touches invite the audience to immerse themselves more fully, not just in the humor, but in the emotional beats of the story. Conclusion. In Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, the set design and locations are more than just backdrops, they are storytelling tools that evolve alongside the characters. From revisiting beloved courses to exploring new, visually inventive environments, the film uses space, props, and atmosphere to deepen the narrative. The production design manages to bridge nostalgia and novelty, comedy and sincerity, making the film's world feel both familiar and freshly imaginative. Ultimately, these settings do not just house the story, they help tell it. Tone and style of dialogue. Comedic cadence. The film retains the punchy, absurd humor of the original, with rapid-fire exchanges, exaggerated insults, and physical comedy woven into the dialogue. Characters like Shooter McGavin and Oscar, Bad Bunny, deliver lines with flamboyant flair, often breaking the fourth wall or riffing on pop culture. Emotional depth. Conversations between Happy and Vienna are more subdued and sincere, showcasing a matured writing style. The script uses pauses, unfinished sentences, and subtle callbacks to convey emotional tension and growth. Meta-humor and self-awareness. The screenplay frequently references the original film, with characters joking about Happy's infamous swing, Bob Barker's legacy, and even the absurdity of sequels. Cameos are introduced with tongue-in-cheek dialogue that acknowledges their celebrity status without derailing the narrative. Speech balloons standout lines and memorable moments. Happy Gilmore. I used to hit balls to prove something. Now I hit 'em to pay for point shoes. A line that encapsulates his transformation. You can't teach chaos. You just swing and hope it lands somewhere good. Delivered during a training montage, blending humor with philosophy. Shooter McGavin. Legacy isn't earned, it's defended. And I'm not done swinging. A dramatic line that adds gravitas to his rivalry. You're still the clown with a driver. I'm the king with a putter. Classic Shooter arrogance, updated for the sequel. Oscar, Bad Bunny. Golf's just ballet with grass stains, bro, a quirky line that bridges Vienna's world with Happy's. You don't need a caddy. You need a therapist. Lucky for you, I'm both. Delivered with comic timing that steals the scene. Hal-El, Ben Stiller. Redemption is like a mulligan. You only get one if someone's watching. A surprisingly poignant line from a character known for menace. Script structure and writing techniques. Callbacks and echoes. Lines from the original film are recontextualized, e.g., Happy's "just tap it in" becomes a mantra he teaches Vienna during a ballet warm-up. Shooter's infamous "I eat pieces of" expletive, like you for breakfast, is referenced in a dream sequence, flipped for comedic effect. Layered dialogue. Scenes often feature overlapping conversations, especially in group settings like Hal's support group, creating a sense of chaotic realism. Emotional scenes use minimal dialogue, relying on subtext and body language to convey meaning. Pacing and rhythm. Dialogue flows naturally, with comedic beats timed to visual gags and emotional pauses allowing for reflection. The script avoids over-exposition, trusting the audience to infer character motivations through tone and delivery. Clapperboard narrative impact of the script. Character voice. Each character has a distinct speech pattern. Happy's blunt honesty, Shooter's theatrical arrogance, Vienna's quiet resolve, making interactions feel authentic. Theme reinforcement. Dialogue reinforces core themes like legacy, authenticity, and fatherhood without becoming didactic. Memorability. The film delivers quotable lines that fans will likely echo for years, much like the original's cult phrases. Dialogue style and tone. A modernized throwback. The film embraces the raw, punchy comedic rhythm of the original Happy Gilmore, but adapts it to a more modern sensibility. Happy still uses his signature sarcasm, brash one-liners, and impulsive outbursts, but there's now an undertone of reflection, as if time has tempered him just enough to offer occasional insight without dulling his edge. The dialogue style remains fast-paced during comedic exchanges, sincere and stripped down during emotional scenes, wittily self-aware, poking fun at both golf culture and modern-day social norms. This tonal flexibility helps the script feel relevant without losing the franchise's classic voice. 2. Nostalgic callbacks and fan service. Longtime fans are treated to several memorable callbacks and catchphrases from the original film, some of which have been cleverly recontextualized. For example, Happy's iconic line, "Why don't you just go home? That's your home." Are you too good for your home? Makes a return in a slightly twisted moment when he mentors a young golfer struggling with putting. References to Shooter McGavin appear through humorous dialogue, flashbacks, and even passive-aggressive interviews on sports channels within the film's universe. These lines don't feel forced, they're integrated in ways that reward returning audiences while offering laughs to newcomers. 3. Character-driven dialogue. Each major character in Happy Gilmore 2 is given a distinct voice through their dialogue. Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler, retains his blue-collar humor, now layered with a hint of nostalgia and regret. His lines oscillate between brash taunts and surprisingly tender moments with his family and protégé. The new antagonist, a smug, influencer-style pro-golfer, speaks in corporate buzzwords and passive insults, providing a perfect foil to Happy's grounded honesty. His snide remarks often serve as satire on modern fame and the commercialization of sports. Happy's protégé, a teenage girl who struggles with confidence, brings earnest, unsure energy to her dialogue, providing emotional grounding and giving Happy moments to shift from coach to father figure. Through these exchanges, the script allows the relationships to evolve organically, using conversation as a key emotional and comedic driver. 4. Humor that hits, and sometimes misses. The comedic writing still relies heavily on physical humor and exaggerated insults. Situational comedy involving golf tournaments or awkward press events. Wordplay, sarcasm, and banter, especially between Happy and side characters. While most jokes land well, especially when rooted in character or context, some moments of over-the-top slapstick or cruder humor may feel outdated to modern audiences. However, these are balanced by moments of clever subversion and meta-humor, often commenting on how the world, and Happy, have changed. Notably, the film includes a scene where Happy confronts a group of young golf influencers and sarcastically remarks, "When I started, we used fists instead of filters." This line not only elicits laughter but subtly critiques the evolution of sports culture. 5. Emotional weight and dramatic writing. Beyond the jokes, the screenplay does not shy away from emotional storytelling. The script integrates these moments through quiet, conversational scenes where Happy reflects on his late mentor and the cost of fame. He has a heart-to-heart with his protégé after she considers quitting. He reconnects with his estranged son, leading to a simple but powerful line. "You don't have to be proud of my past. Just let me be part of your future." Such scenes are grounded and sincere, relying on minimal dialogue to create real emotional impact. The writers resist melodrama, instead choosing subtext and silence to communicate depth. 6. Memorable lines and quotability. Like the original film, Happy Gilmore 2 delivers several quotable lines that fans are likely to repeat. A few examples include, "Golf didn't change. I did. And I'm still trying to catch up." Happy reflecting on his life. "You don't win tournaments with hashtags." Said to a younger player, "I'm not your coach. I'm your sand trap, here to mess you up till you get it right." Happy in a funny but motivating speech. These lines not only entertain but define character arcs, making the dialogue memorable beyond laughs. Conclusion. The dialogue and script of Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, succeed in bridging two generations of comedy and character storytelling. With well-placed humor, layered character exchanges, emotional conversations, and impactful one-liners, the film proves that sequels can still feel fresh when handled with care. The writing pays homage to the original while charting new territory, making the film's voice both familiar and evolved. Ultimately, the screenplay stands out as a thoughtfully crafted piece, one that uses humor not just for laughs, but to explore legacy, change, and the heart beneath the hockey-swinging golfer. Happy Gilmore 2, 2025, Dialogue and Script, In-Depth Analysis. Glowing Star 1. Narrative-driven dialogue, building through conversation. In Happy Gilmore 2, dialogue is not just a means for laughs, it is the primary tool through which the story, relationships, and emotional beats evolve. The writers cleverly use character interactions to advance the plot. Exposition is delivered seamlessly through natural conversation rather than clunky narration. Build tension and conflict. Exchanges between Happy and the younger generation of golfers often erupt into biting one-liners, showing how the world has changed and how Happy hasn't. Deliver emotional subtext. Much is left unsaid in heartfelt moments, where pauses, hesitation, or interrupted sentences carry deep meaning. For instance, in one key scene, Happy visits his mother's grave and speaks aloud in a one-sided conversation. The dialogue is raw and stammered, not polished or theatrical, which gives it authenticity and reveals Happy's emotional vulnerability, a shift from his usual tough exterior. Face with Tears of Joy 2. Comedic structure. Classic Sandler energy, updated. The humor in Happy Gilmore 2 stays true to the Sandler brand but evolves it for 2025 sensibilities. The script uses callback humor to remind fans of memorable moments from the first film. Example, a reimagined version of The Price is Wrong gag, this time involving a viral YouTuber and a golf cart incident. Character-based humor, where jokes come naturally from personalities. Example, Happy mentoring a Gen Z golfer who tracks his heart rate during swings. Happy's mockery is relentless but funny. When I started golfing, we tracked blood, not heart rate. Situational comedy, especially during tournament scenes, like Happy losing a match because he was trying to coach his student mid-play. The script's humor evolves by being more self-aware and occasionally satirical, poking fun at influencer culture, corporate golf sponsorships, and the sanitized, PR-controlled nature of modern sports. Performing Arts 3. Character arc through dialogue. Each major character uses dialogue to reveal internal struggles, growth, and goals. Small Blue Diamond Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler. Happy's arc is deeply tied to how he speaks. Early on, his words are defensive, sarcastic, and dismissive. But as the story progresses, his dialogue becomes more thoughtful and reflective. This shift is subtle, not abrupt, showing the writer's attention to believable character growth.